Hello, friends. Welcome to SideQuest, the show within the show in which we talk bullshit. On our show tonight, we have a very special guest, Jonathon Sleep, narrator of the Caverns and Creatures audiobooks. Say hello, John.
Hello, John.
Hey.
Had to. Sorry. I know. Now, hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
That's what she said. Come on, guys. We're gonna just get this started off right here, right?
All right, that's all the preparation I did.
All right.
We were waiting with bated breath to see what Bevan was going to dazzle us with.
I said hello,
To
friends.
finish out the intro, I'm Drew Hayes. Joining us also is Rick Gualtieri and
shit.
Steve Wetherill.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, don't forget about us, man.
So unprepared, he forgot our names.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you for joining us on this side quest. We know it's coming out the day before Halloween, so we hope you are feeling spooky and scared. We know we are. But before we get into that, Jonathan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, have a little opportunity to plug at the top, because we know not everybody listens at the end.
Hey, that's smart. Sure, absolutely. All right. Well,
Do you have anything to plug?
actually, I do. The audiobook for Critical Failure's 7 Septipussy just landed in Audible, ready to be downloaded by all of you greedy fuckers out there who've been waiting for it for so long. It is ready. Download it. Enjoy, guys. It's quite the hefty tome, as Bob has so graciously cranked out for us. And I think you're gonna like it. It's pretty good. It's got some fun stuff in it. Tim and the gang have really, gotten themselves into quite an interesting little situation. Some surprises for sure.
Surprises.
Now, see, everyone, aren't you glad we didn't bury that at the end? Like, I've seen Bevan's wall. I know how many people are always asking him about that shit, so that probably made a bunch of your days.
Hey, absolutely. It's
Ugh.
first day out today, and it's doing pretty good so far. Can't complain.
We are currently at number 82 in all of Amazon's audiobooks. I don't
Not bad.
have we ever done that? Have we ever
think
broken 100?
so.
No, have we? Oh,
Pretty sure,
Well,
pretty
all right.
sure.
Well, all right. Yeah, when Audible runs a one of their little BOGO deals.
Promotion, yeah. We are currently, I pointed this out to Bob earlier, we're currently at number 1 in the movers and shakers category. So right in
Nice.
front of old Sally Field, who's dropped her autobiography. And so we're really moving and shaking all over.
Yeah, Sally Field.
Yeah.
Who knew there were that many Sally Field fans? She's at number.
Wait. Sally Field has a new book out. What the fuck, guys? Way to bury the lead.
Sorry about that.
I mean, she's at number 1, and like, forgive me, Vicky, the real list.
The true list of whatever those lists means. They're pretty nebulous. Whatever. People like books at the top of the list, not so much the books at the bottom of the list, right? I mean, basically, I don't know.
Well, if you're listening to this, it's been a few days, so why not go out there and give that a little bit of a extra bounce, you know? It
Do
might
it.
be riding that premiere wave down the slide, so give it an extra bump and make everybody who thought they were going to pass it go, God damn it, Bevan, not again!
There's a whole bunch of A&D fans out there going, God damn it, but I like Sally Field.
We need to bring down fucking Sally Field.
Yeah. Destroy that bitch.
Ugh.
She's had her way too long.
They like her. They really like her for some reason.
I'm not on
right?
board with that. I know how deep the Field fandom runs on the internet. I am not picking a fight with that dragon.
It's a wide field.
We've taken down fucking Bob Saget. We can take Sally Field.
Yeah, easy, for sure.
Speaking of scary concepts, such as taking on Sally Fields,
And Bob Saget.
You know what was really spooky, Drew? How good this segue is.
I know, right? It was. I didn't want to like stop and like really jerk off to it like midway through, but it was good enough. It does deserve it. You're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about scary stories today. We kind of burned Halloween on the last side quest, but we decided that we would go into maybe some of the old campfire tales and legends, some that we remembered from childhood, some that are just, well, kind of constantly in the lexicon of all horror, and then probably pick apart how stupid we were for being afraid of them in the first place, because I mean, if we're not going to ruin the things we love, what the fuck are we even doing on this podcast?
That's life, man.
Yeah.
Ruin it. If you love it, you must set it free and ruin it somewhere in there, right? I don't know. Something like that.
All right. So, John, as guest, would you like to go first, or would you like to make one of us go first? That is your right as the guest. You get the choice of the spotlight.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. When we're talking about like scary stories, we're talking about like the old lore, basically, of like things that spooked us out as kids or whatever it was, or as adults, even kind of things like that. Is that sort of what we're getting at here? Or
Yeah, or just the ones that stuck with you like through the years. Like when you think of a scary story, that's the one that pops into your head.
The credit card statement.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I was going to say this is coming out on October 30th. November, my property taxes are due. I don't know of a scarier story than that.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
So, for example, we can for the most ubiquitous one, the hook.
Right.
Just the universal. You're making out. There's an escaped guy with a hook. I hear scratching. Ah!
Yeah, it's a hook.
It's a hook.
Man, I don't know. The only thing I can think about like that well, okay, maybe there's two things. When I was a kid, for some reason, like I would hear about like, and this isn't like this. Just I feel like this probably happened to everyone, but you would hear about like escaped convicts. Like there was a prison break, and like someone got out, and like you'd hear it on the news or whatever. I mean, there weren't any prisons around me where I lived, grew up, or anything like that. But for you'd hear that shit, and you're like, "Holy fuck! There's a crazy like serial killer on the loose now," And you're like, you'd think about that for a couple days, and it really kind of mess you up a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced anything like that. Just an odd thing that would happen every once in a while. The only other thing, kind of like, I know what you're talking about, but like the whole like Bloody Mary thing, right? Like you guys know.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's a good old standard.
It's like the classic, right? Like look in the mirror, say Bloody Mary 3 times, and then like she's supposed to appear. Is that the gist of it there, more or less? Was that?
Yeah, which is wild when you think about how many like stupid kids there are out at any given Halloween time. Like Mary has got to be booked like eyeballs to assholes, just no spare time. Every moment she tries to take a shit. Like immediately, Bloody Mary, Bloody God!
Yeah, somebody's screaming
no wonder
Bloody Mary.
She comes out pissed
Got
off.
Bobby in New Haven. Hang on. Yeah, right.
Instead of kid just
Give me a minute.
gets a text message. I'll get you in 2028.
Yeah.
That's the scariest part of all, when you summon her mid shit, squatting on your floor.
If you had a turd halfway out and were suddenly teleported into a stranger's house, I'd come out swinging too.
Nice.
I see, now that's kind of like, you got me worried that maybe it's not that it doesn't work because ghosts aren't real, but maybe there is just a backlog and she'll get round to me. Now I've got to think about that.
Right. You don't know when she's going to pop
exactly.
up.
Bloody
she's
overworked
got like a
Mary.
6.5 month backlog. She's going to show up. Boom. Yeah. There she is.
Yeah, I never believed any of this shit as a kid, but my daughter did. I don't know how did Bloody Mary even make it to Korea? But she, this is like when she was like 4 or 5 years old, and she was saying, I heard about the Bloody Mary thing, and I was like, all right, we're gonna end this shit right now. And
nice.
So I said, I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm gonna go say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror. She said, no, Daddy, don't do that. And I did, and then I didn't get murdered.
Well,
yes.
When was this?
When Megan was like 4 or 5 years old.
Well, you better hope the's not like a
backlog,
6-year backlog on that.
If it made it all the way to Korea, there's definitely a 6-year backlog.
Oh yeah. You gotta imagine like Mary's just showing up to funerals or graveyards.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm supposed to kill someone. Cirrhosis. Yeah, alcohol. That'll get you faster. That'll get you faster than Bloody Mary. Different kind of Bloody Mary. Am I right? You're dead. You can't hear this.
If Bloody Mary's smart, she'd have like a franchise in different countries or whatever. You know what I mean? So it'd be like the Korean Bloody Mary would pop up there. If you're in
Bloody Margaret over
in the UK.
Britain.
Yeah, exactly.
She's still visiting the graves of like World War II veterans and stuff.
So I really need to get my shit together.
So you guys all did that? You actually like looked in the mirror and said it and did all that shit like to see if it would happen?
So.
No, I did it to calm my daughter.
Nice. It's a little freaky.
You are a better parent than me because I would have done the opposite. I would have gone in there, screamed Bloody Mary, and then I would have come out and like had like tampons plastered to me. Oh God!
Jesus.
You'd have busted into the Halloween gear you used to set everything up.
Tampons?
You wanted Bloody Mary. This is Bloody Mary. Golly.
Oh.
That would have. You go in there, you say it 3 times, you walk out with a Bloody Mary. You're like, okay, so magic is real, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, there you go. This is the Sunday brunch version, okay?
You're not allowed to say it until you're 21.
Bitch didn't give me a celery stick.
The horror!
Jesus.
You know, now I'm gonna go into the bathroom tomorrow and start screaming bloody mimosa and see if that works.
Nice. Bloody martini.
Gin on the rocks.
Just give me a bloody lager.
Gin on the. Where the fuck are you?
Bloody Kirkland Light.
Good luck with that.
Truly a drink that only a ghost can bring. Oh, that was a good one.
It does seem to be very global. Does anybody know what the origin of that is?
I don't know, man. Probably
All
do
the
like
best ones are nebulous and ill-defined.
search. Yeah, you don't really want the origin story on that, probably.
No.
Yeah, the original is going to be something really sad or just really creepy.
Was it not Mary Queen of Scots, or is that different Bloody Mary?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's a different. I don't think she appears in your mirror. I think she just appears in kind of.
None of them do.
High-end Oscar bait.
Yeah, she appears in your mirror and collects your taxes.
Gives you a stiff drink. Take the edge off.
She berates you with a Scottish accent.
You know, it was the example, but it is worth addressing how stupid the hook is. Like, truly and sincerely. As a story, especially back in the olden days when it's always set, those cars were made of fucking steel, man.
True.
You're not getting in there with a hook. You're not getting in there with a power hook.
Oh my God, there's a maniac outside. What should we do? I don't know, just drive forward slowly.
I think I'm going to hit him with 2 tons of good old American steel.
Hook versus Buick Roadmaster. Let's see who wins.
Yeah. It turns into a horror movie from the Hook guy's perspective really quickly. Oh shit, this is just a joke!
It's like Christine, but with no supernatural elements at all.
Let me tell you this scary story. I used to have a hook on my hand, and then I was just walking up trying to knock on the door of this car, and bam, they drove away, tore my fucking hook off. Now I got nothing to... Poor guy, jeez, right?
Now I got a peg
The
leg
legend
too.
of the privileged teenagers.
Right. And I lost my leg.
Every time I go walking on dark roads at night, I hear it. The engine revving. I catch flashes of the light.
Perfect.
He's coming for me. He got a taste and he wants the rest.
I think a lot of these stories, and we might get into like variations as we go further in, but they tend to like be different, like regionally, some slight differences in different regions and whatnot. What was the thumbnail sketch? Like Drew, you mentioned it earlier. What was your understanding of that story? Like basically, like what was it? Like how did it all kind of unfold?
The hook one or the Bloody Mary?
Yeah, the hook one. Yeah, I think Bloody Mary's pretty simple,
Hook one was, truly it was the breakdown I gave you. It was 2 teens necking out at Makeout Point or the woods or whatever local feature you lived around.
Right.
If people were getting really fancy with it.
Yeah.
Radio broadcast. God, that right there just dates it.
Oh, yeah.
I know radio's still around, but is it?
The Martians are invading.
So, radio broadcast, psychopath escaped from the local hospital with a hook on
go.
his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Old-timey radio voice. Scratching at the door. I think I hear something. No, there's nothing. Drive me home anyway. Drives to the gas station, gets out. There's a hook hanging on the door. Which, like, did you not have the door locked when you were about to fuck? Like, that's just common courtesy, man.
Yeah.
And really, the mental hospital staff, maybe, don't let the guy have a hook. Give him a rubber prosthesis or something.
Maybe don't give the known murderer a sharp object.
I drove home and found a plastic spork in my doorknob.
I drove home and found the Buster Bluth hand in my door handle.
It's like a rubber safety hook. What is this?
I never knew I could
Jesus.
hook so much.
I don't know if this is a regional difference or if
That's
it was.
that's pretty much the same. Yeah, I was gonna say that's like it was like stuck in the door handle or whatever. Like he's about to open the door and like just the last
Just
moment.
inside.
Yeah.
Mine was
Okay.
the version I heard when I was small was they kept on hearing a thumping noise while they were pulled up in a lay-by somewhere doing teenage things to each other. They kept hearing a thumping noise, and he got out and kind of looked around. There was nothing, but then when he turned around to look at the car, there was a man banging a severed head on the roof. So that's what I got.
Jesus.
Oh wow, that's way more intense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's specific to my area because we did have a severed head found in my town around that time. So maybe that's the origin of our version.
Severed head what?
Found.
Oh, yeah,
Like they
somebody
found a
found a
severed
head.
head.
All right.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that one might be a regional variant. I've never heard severed head on the roof. When you heard banging, I really thought you were setting up for a someone jerking off in the trunk joke.
Well, yeah, that's
had that
kind
guy
of where
too.
you expect it to go. Yeah,
They had that guy too.
I'd rather have the hook.
I mean, he was also there,
Yeah.
but he was the least of their worries.
Well,
Someone using a severed head to jerk off on the roof.
Where I grew up, he had a silicone dildo for a hand.
well, there's
Called him old fuckfinger.
Flapping against the window.
And they heard the noise.
there's also the variant where the boyfriend gets out to investigate, doesn't come back, and then the girlfriend gets out and like finds him hanging dead over the car or something.
That's our version of it. Except it's the boyfriend's head being banged on the roof.
Wait, she has to get out to see that? Oh, on the roof.
Yeah.
She's not very bright, okay?
Oh.
Jesus.
Well, speaking of regional variants, so John, this is one we sort of tackled once before, but I'm curious to see if you'll have your own answer. Were there any local stories to your particular area, like ones you haven't heard repeated around, or maybe only repackaged, but like any particular local myths that you remember?
And we've already
good question.
covered Baxter the 8-dick spider monkey.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Okay.
We can't backtrack over that.
Other than the, just random hobo masturbator or whatever that was previously mentioned, no, we don't have any other ones. I don't know. No, I can't recall anything special, specific that was like a regional too. I grew up in Marietta, Georgia, which is just a suburb of Atlanta. So it's like 20 minutes north. So I don't, no, I can't really remember anything like that specific.
Yeah, no worries.
Sadly.
I think we realized that most of us had heard a lot of the same stories, just repackaged like to our specific area. The scariest one I think ended up being potentially mine, for the fact that it involved a bunch of teenagers running down a dark, unlit, active road with very low visibility. So yeah, people genuinely could have gotten hurt on that one.
Yeah, that's scary
Shit.
for entirely different reasons. Yeah.
Very stupid. Yeah.
So allegedly that happened, basically, or is that something kids would do for some reason, like a stunt?
That wasn't the ghost story. The ghost story
Right.
was like, I don't know, some lady and a baby and dead wailing. But people would get dropped off at one end of this road where there were no lights, and it was wooded and like pitch black, and run down to the other end where like your friends would supposed to be waiting for you. But like people used this fucking road.
Right.
And it's the middle of the night when they're doing it. It's like, God, that was stupid.
Dumb. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
kids. That's what.
It's going to be the source of its own ghost story.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just build on each other there. Pretty
All right.
cool.
Well, who else has
else?
a fun tale that they want to share with the party?
More fun than being run over.
All right.
Fun legend. It doesn't have to be locals. We did those. We can jump back to the campfire tales.
What about stuff that was just like family based?
Sure.
Because my uncle like used to scare the shit out of me because he lived in a wooded area down in like Jackson, New Jersey. And Jackson, New Jersey is a pretty scary place to begin with. But he would always tell me about like the werewolves that lived in the forest. Now these forests probably went back maybe like, I don't know, probably 50 feet for all I know. But it was one of those houses where the acoustics were weird. So if you were on the side of the house and somebody was talking from one yard, it would sound like it was coming from the other yard. And he would fuck with me with that. He'd be like, yeah, go around front, go get me something. Okay, fine. And I'd be coming back and he'd start like howling like a wolf. And except it would sound like it was coming from somewhere completely else. And it would just scare the living shit out of me.
Nice.
And one time I actually got in trouble for it because he convinced me that garlic wasn't just for vampires; it was for werewolves too. So I'm driving home with my parents and like, what the hell is that smell? And I'm in the back wearing a clove of garlic around my neck.
Holy shit! Fucking werewolves.
Ace. I used to be terrified of American Werewolf in London because it was one of those movies I watched at far too young an age.
Sure.
I didn't realize it was an enjoyable comedy.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, I'm going to be eaten by a wolf for sure. That's definitely how I'm going to die. And my brother said, logically, it's an American werewolf in London. London's ages away. And I kind of, thought, he's got a good point. Then I went and asked my dad, it's like, could I feasibly walk to London from here? Rather than him saying, go to sleep or what's wrong, he went, yeah. All right, well,
yeah.
I'm not sleeping now.
Easy.
So, yeah, it's like...
If you got the time.
Get a taxi or anything, you can just saunter
If you're
on
going
over.
to London, bring me back some smokes.
So if I can walk to London, then a wolf can definitely get here and eat me. So, but, I was a stupid kid. There are no wolves in England. Or supernatural ones.
There are giant cats.
Oh yeah, there are giant cats. We recently had another sighting, allegedly, of the Rutland panther.
Nice.
So I should have been more concerned about the fictional great cat rather than the fictional werewolf.
As it's tearing your throat out, you're like, at least it's not a wolf.
I didn't see this one coming. Who knew? Giant cat. What a way to go. But no, the probably fictional giant cat hasn't eaten anyone. Whereas I saw that movie and people definitely got eaten. So, from like a 7-year-old's perspective.
Werewolves were definitely a early fascination for me, like horror movies and stuff like that. There's actually a TV show. I have no idea what it was called. It might have been called Werewolf for all I know. But I think it was like on syndication and whatnot. And man, I had to be in like early, late elementary, early middle school, maybe, I think, when it came on. It was some dude. I think it was like 30-minute episodes, and this guy would the full moon would come out, and he's got the pentagram on his hand. You guys know the show I'm talking about?
Yeah, yes.
He'd have like
rings a bell.
I used to watch it.
Like like a bloody pentagram would show up on his palm, and then he'd wolf out.
The one guy had the eye patch and would like kind of like rip it open and like just kind of pull it over his wolf head.
I don't remember that. That sounds great. But I mean, I remember that show and being like, "Fucking werewolves will fuck you up." That is fucking scary.
He had an eye patch.
Okay, the guy had an eye patch. He would take it off and like beneath it was his wolf eye, and would kind of grab the skin around it and just kind of rip it off, revealing it like the werewolf underneath.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wait a second. So like, if he was a wolf, did he have 2 functional eyes?
Don't ruin this for me.
No, look up the fucking
cool.
show. I haven't seen it in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Is it called
it's
Werewolf?
like that old. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think I see it here maybe.
Yeah, I think it was
It's like
called
87, 88. But
So complete opposite end of the scary spectrum. Did anybody watch Big Wolf on Campus?
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god.
I thought I was the only grown man who watched that.
I didn't, but I recently subjected my family to Teen Wolf.
oh, how did that go over?
I kind of prepared them for it. This is really corny. We don't have anything else to watch tonight. You might enjoy this. And they did. We laughed at it. I mean, even my kids, laughed at it for how kind of shitty it was.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it might stand up, though. At least, it's funny. It's got some funny shit in it, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably,
yeah.
Probably more than Big Wolf on Campus.
Yeah, I tried to rewatch Big Wolf on Campus like 3 or 4 years ago. Bad move.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not the best show in its heyday. Definitely has not aged well.
Oh, that's a show. I thought you were talking about a movie. All right.
Sort of imagine if like the movie Teen Wolf also fought other supernatural creatures with a much, much lower budget and a shifting array of sidekicks.
Can I say one thing?
Nice.
That's one of my pet peeves with the classic monster horror genre is, nowadays it seems like if you got vampires, you have to have werewolves and other shit in there. I want a vampire show, or I want a werewolf show, and I want that to be the only supernatural thing in it. Just
Okay.
I remember like True Blood season 1. All right, all vampires. Then they started bringing in wolves and fucking fairies and shit, and
Right.
I don't want all that. I want to watch a vampire show.
I tuned in to watch vampires fucking. God damn it.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't mess with the formula.
But no, it's not just True Blood. It's I can't even think of a vampire show that doesn't have fucking werewolves in it.
Well, I think it all tends to follow the world-building logic that, well, if these are real, then probably everything is real,
I
right?
don't want that to be the case. I want vampires to be real and nothing else. Or werewolves
there's no
to
magic,
be real.
only vampire.
Well, that's exactly what I want.
I blame the monsters for doing that, basically. It was like you had everyone all in one house, and that was just fucked up. How does that even work?
That's fine, because that's what it's about, though. That's just stupid, monster comedy shit. But if I want to see
these days, but this has been happening for probably since the birth of the moving image.
I was going to say, Big Wolf was in the 90s.
You didn't have to deal with this shit in Teen Wolf. There are no vampires in Teen Wolf.
True.
If that Teen Wolf 3, there definitely would have been a vampire.
Wait. Has anybody seen Teen Wolf 2? Are there other supernatural creatures?
No, Teen Wolf 2 was fucking exactly the same as Teen Wolf 1, except they replaced basketball with
boxing.
Was it boxing?
Yeah, it was Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, that's crazy. Because he doesn't look a fucking day older now.
Right.
It's because he's an actual werewolf.
There was a
That's
Teen
a
Wolf
vampire thing, Steve. Fuck you.
Who even cares anymore, Bevan?
Yeah.
Get in the pool with the rest of us. With all the vampire werewolf sexy hybrids, you prude. Get down here in the fuck pool with all the other monsters.
A monster. Universal monster fuck pool.
Yes. That's basically what the monsters were. If I'm recalling it correctly.
Pretty much, yeah. More or less.
Anyway, I had to get that out.
You did.
Good. I'm glad
It's
glad
okay.
you did.
You're very passionate about your monster segregation.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't even like horror.
He just knows he doesn't want America.
Now at our next at the movies, we have to do Monster Squad and just listen to Bob just lose his shit.
We also watched Monster Squad as a family.
That's a good one.
And I don't have a problem with that because that's not set up to be a vampire movie or a werewolf movie. That is, here's a bunch of monsters. Okay, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
Some might say a squad of them.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
Ensemble.
Oh my God. That makes perfect sense because I always thought the Monster Squad were the Monster Squad, but they were definitely fighting a squad of monsters. So,
it works on 2 levels.
Yeah, it's a clever title.
Who says cocaine never scores you any victories in writing?
Right.
Nice.
No, nobody says that.
Yeah, nobody. So back to scary stories.
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty
What
fun
else?
tangent, Bevan. I have to say that was.
Oh, thank you.
So here's one. I'm just kind of looking through the famous ones and seeing what jumps out to me. But does anybody have the clown statue story told to them in some form or another?
What?
Huh?
No.
Yeah, no idea.
Okay, this is one I know.
Clown statue. No.
All right, I'm gonna. There's a very quick version of it, so I'm gonna read it real quick for y'all and the listeners at home. A babysitter has been hired to watch 2 children for the night. After she puts the kids to bed, the parents ask that she watches TV in their bedroom upstairs because the children have been having nightmares recently. She puts the kids to bed easily enough and settles into the parents' room to watch TV. But in the corner of the room, there's a large, creepy clown statue, about life size. She tries to ignore it, but it's just too creepy. Finally, she calls the dad to ask if she can watch TV downstairs instead. Sure, but why? He asks. She tells him that the clown statue is just creeping her out too much. There's a pause. Get the children and leave the house, says the dad. We don't have a clown statue.
Oh my God.
Implied murderer.
Let me tell you something. I lived through that in real life because my father, who I really don't get along
I didn't
with-
have a clown statue either.
This is the story of how Rick killed that guy and why he's still sure it was reasonable defense.
No. So I was going to visit my
that story.
father, and I hadn't seen him in a long time because, well, we don't really get along. And it turned out that, and I was bringing my girlfriend at the time with me, and when we got there, it turned out that his new wife, my stepmother, collected clowns. And by collected clowns, I mean had an entire house full of clowns. No. So they put my girlfriend in a room, they're like, oh, you're going to sleep in this room. And they're like, with me, you're going to sleep on the couch. And it was so the lights go out and she opens the door and she's like, come in here. And I'm like, all right, this is great. Except I go in there and the entire room is full of life-sized clown mannequins.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And she's like, you're sleeping here with me because if these come to life in the middle of the night, I know I run faster than you.
What?
That is an entirely reasonable demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a Rick origin story we've got going on here. It explains a lot.
Jesus.
My God.
Oh, man.
Why would you put someone in a clown room?
And here's a question.
Why would you have a clown room?
Why is the clown murderer just hanging out? What is he waiting for in this situation?
That's a good. Don't ruin this with logic.
That's the whole premise of the show, Steve.
and you know something, this story could also have transitioned into a porno too.
we don't have a sexy clown statue.
Then who was fucking my girlfriend?
Oh, God. It ignores the destructive impulses of so many teenagers that would be like, oh God, this fucking clown statue's weird. Take a golf club and swing it in the balls just because you think it's funny.
Oh man, this clown statue is screaming.
It's you film a Snapchat of you setting it on fire because you're like, do it for the gram. Oh shit, it's actually on fire. Oh shit, that was a dude.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my God. Also, a clown outfit, pretty cumbersome, right?
Can be.
That just adds to the experience, really.
If it's so body encompassing that you believe it's a statue, that's gloves, that's floppy shoes, that's a full mask, or a really good makeup. All I'm saying is, I feel like you've got the movement advantage in that fight.
Yeah.
Floppy shoes are gonna make quick steps pretty hard.
True.
It's definitely the shoes are the only disadvantage. That kind of big silky onesie thing. It's comfortable. You can move quickly in that. You're gonna rustle. They're gonna hear you
hard to
come.
grapple. Hard to grapple.
They can grab you and pull you pretty much anywhere.
But do you want to touch a clown? That's the other advantage. No one wants to touch a clown.
You beat the shit out of the clown statue. It turns out it was just grandma wearing her face mask.
The dad's like, I mean, except
Jesus.
for, grandma who sometimes has dementia episodes and wears a clown outfit, but I'm sure you wouldn't have beaten the shit out of her violently in these 10 seconds.
Hey, have you seen some of those old lady moo-moos,
Hey, Dad, I beat the shit out of the clown statue. We don't have a clown statue, son, but as you know, Grandma is a clown. Now, gonna get the shovel.
It's like, I knew it was grandma, I just don't like her.
Why not? Well, she's a clown. All right, son, you make a fine case.
Oh, help me with the body, because nobody wants to touch a clown, let alone a dead clown.
Oh God, it's dissolving into cotton candy. Yes, clowns aren't people.
Fuck.
Clowns are people. Excellent.
I remember 4 years ago when just people were dressing in clown outfits and hanging out in the streets and being weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
I
a
do
thing for a
remember
little
that.
while, wasn't it?
It was a minute. Yeah.
Weird times.
Didn't really catch on in my town. Some people were doing it, but I think, most people just want to get on with their fucking day, don't they? It's like, oh, there's a guy in a clown mask. Yeah, well, fuck you. I've got to get to work. So.
Yeah, good fortune that the clown like happened to be in a spot where he could, take that perfect mannequin-like pose. It'd be a way different call. Hey, do you mind if I use the downstairs bathroom? I don't feel comfortable moving that clown mannequin you've got that's posed taking a shit on the toilet.
We don't have a clown mannequin.
Plop.
Jesus.
It's like a jerking off pose. You're like, oh, it's a fetish thing. I'm not gonna call.
That would have been great if Rick's story had finished with him like going downstairs the next day and his dad being like, "Why weren't you on the couch?" It's like, "Well, I had to sleep in my room with my girlfriend because of all the clown mannequins." We don't have any clown mannequins.
Right.
That was just a bunch of clowns watching you sleep.
Yeah. Or something would have been even worse. It's like, why'd you come in there? You ruined me standing there in my clown outfit jerking off.
Why do you think we invited you and your girlfriend in the first place? Oh man. All right. Does anybody want to go with another, or should I pull another from the classics list?
Well, as long as Steve brought up the werewolf, American Werewolf in London, I don't know if this counts or not, but I will say because I don't, it's well known on this podcast. I don't watch a lot of horror. I don't like it. I scare easy. The thing that terrified me the most as a kid was Bob from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Do we remember this?
He was creepy, yeah. I'm a Twin Peaks fan.
Is he the little guy or the...
No, the killer.
He's just a redneck-looking dude.
He was he looked like a homeless dude, and he was in the Palmer's house and crawled over the couch, and that gave me nightmares for a long time.
Damn.
But I still kept watching the show because I was 10, but I was enthralled.
Sadly, I was not exposed at such a tender young age to Twin Peaks. That would definitely warp a 10-year-old's mind. I kind of unrelated, a funny story. Back in the day when there were VCR or videotape rental stores like Blockbuster or whatever. My mom comes home with some videos, and she's like, "Yeah, we got some movies here. The nice gentleman at the store helped me out with this, whatever. There's like, pics or whatever." She comes home with Toxic Avenger and Eraserhead.
Eraserhead.
I'm in like middle school, and we begin to watch them, and she's like, we got through like pretty well into Toxic Avenger, actually, like way past the part where they're fucking in the little changing room or whatever, in the gym or whatever it is, and that should have clued us in that something terrible was going to happen.
Yeah.
He turns into the fucking dude, but the part that really like she was like, "All right, this is enough," is the part where the folks are in the car and they're like trying to hit people, and like they back over like the kid's head who's on the bike or whatever it was, and it's like squash.
Yeah. You could sort of, you pick that up and look at the cover and think, oh, this is going to be like a wacky kind of family movie.
Yeah.
But it's no.
No. Like, I really like imagining that conversation of the guy talking to my mom. This is, again, in the suburb of Atlanta. "Oh, yeah, lady, here's a good one. Here's a Toxic Avenger. This is good for the family, whatever. Oh, and here's Eraserhead, too." Never actually watched Eraserhead. I think after Toxic Avenger, she was like, "All right, that's probably enough. We'll go."
Send
it back.
Eraserhead is like, it's a David Lynch movie. That's the only thing you gotta fucking know about it.
Yeah.
Toxic Avenger is also extra fucked up because they made a kids cartoon
Yes.
about that character. Like,
that's right.
They did,
a lot of people backdoor made that mistake. Like, I read it thinking, "Oh shit, I watched this cartoon as a kid. I bet this movie is like fun." And like I turn it on, I'm like, "Oh, thank God I'm in college."
I was the other way around. I picked up, I started watching the cartoon. I thought, well, where's the child murder and all the sex? Where is all the sex at 3 p.m. on terrestrial television? Don't know what I was expecting. Now that I think about it,
So strange.
Yeah, but they've done that with other like R-rated stuff. Like they made a Highlander cartoon, and I was like, how are they making a cartoon? Because the entire premise is basically just cutting off people's heads here.
Yeah. Just murdering each other, yeah, fighting each other. That's strange.
Same with the RoboCop cartoon. You take away the
God, I forgot about that.
irony and ultra-violence from RoboCop. It just doesn't work anymore. It's
Yeah.
just a man in a robot suit. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like you need somebody there dissolving in toxic waste.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Getting hit by that car.
Yeah.
Sploosh.
Help me, man! Help me!
In the cartoon, did they at least throw in the I'd buy that for $1 guy? I don't know. I never watched the cartoon.
No.
I would hope so.
I would have liked a cartoon series just about that guy
Yeah, for sure.
and his adventures, but can't always get what we want, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly.
It's just as well you didn't watch Eraserhead. That's basically just
No.
a portal to hell on a
Yeah.
VHS.
I think, that did not happen, sadly. That was many years later when I finally delved into that one a bit. So
I mean, if Twin Peaks is probably not good for a child to be watching, that's going to mess you up. But Eraserhead it goes a little bit further, doesn't it? So
I can't think of anything else that would have fucked me up more than watching Eraserhead. Certainly Toxic Avenger was enough, so.
I remember watching Eraserhead and going like, how the fuck does this guy have a career?
Right.
I thought the same thing. I think I've talked about this with Steve before, and
you and I aren't freaked out by the same sort of things. I can watch conventional horror movies pretty easy, but stuff like David Lynch stuff freaks me right out.
I mean, David Lynch has done a lot of things. Twin Peaks freaked me the fuck out. Eraserhead bored me.
Different. Yeah, different. But if you had seen it as a 10-year-old, it might have freaked you the fuck out.
I don't know. I still feel like I would have been bored and confused. And
I was really, really drunk the first time I watched it, so it was kind of a visceral experience.
It probably made more sense.
I'm trying to think of like what horror movies really fucking like, really like kind of freaked me out as a kid. And oddly, okay, I just remembered my earliest scary cinema experience, okay? Oddly enough, E.T., watching it in the theater, back when it came out, went to see it the moment, and I don't know if this happened to you guys, but I about shit my pants in the theater. When he pops out in the cornfield or whatever, when he first sees him, scariest fucking thing I'd ever seen. And I don't know that there's anything else since then that scared me as much as that moment.
E.T. scared the shit out of me, mate.
Freaked
People
the
won't
fuck
realise
out of
it
me.
now because it's been recut. I had it on a
Right.
pirate VHS. It was all dark and grainy. But the opening sequences for the first 20 minutes, it was perfect horror movie beats.
Yeah.
And his horrible little shit monster kind of creeping up to his bed. It's like, this is nightmare stuff. And then he turns out to be friendly. But even when he was friendly, I just thought there was never a time during that movie when I thought, they don't know what the sailing is about. It might just rip their fucking face off at any minute.
Right.
No, don't put your child near it.
He's getting drunk. He's going to fucking kill someone. Here it comes.
E.T. himself never bothered me. The part I remember being scared about that movie was when those guys in the
Spacemen guys.
Oh, yeah.
when they started
they were
walking
scary
up,
too.
Yeah, that fucked
They were
me up.
scary too.
I used to have
For sure.
dream that I'd be kind of in my house and just some spaceman guy would walk in. That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But no, E.T. was a horrible little goblin.
Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
For sure. I think the only thing that maybe got close later, some years later, was the first time I watched Poltergeist. And just the whole fucking...
that clown.
The yeah.
The clown and the
Fuck
tree.
that. The tree and the braces. The fucking braces. Was that
The
one
braces.
or
I don't remember
two?
the braces.
Was that
Kind of-
two?
They blend together for me now.
Yeah.
I think
that
it
might
was
have been
two, yeah.
two. Yeah, I think it was two. Poltergeist. That was one that kind of stuck with me a bit. after
Even the
seeing
old
it, for
lady,
sure.
she was fucking creepy.
Yeah, man.
Or what about that part where the guy
She's a good guy.
peels off his own face?
Some good shit, man.
Yeah.
What?
Ugh.
Oddly enough, the movie that scared the shit out of me the most wasn't really a horror movie because I grew up watching horror movies. They didn't really bother me. But there's this Chuck Norris movie called Silent Rage. And it ends on a jump scare. And I remember I was watching it. It was like 1 a.m. I had snuck out of bed and I was just watching it. And I'm like, all right, Chuck Norris beating up some bad guy. That's fine. And then like it's at the very end, the bad guy's beaten, and they throw in some jump scare, and I wasn't expecting it. It scared the fuck out of me.
Nice. Well played, Chuck Norris.
Yes. Yeah.
Damn you, Chuck Norris.
Damn you.
Well, we've derailed here from, I guess, urban legends to movies. But
Scary old things. You know what? The movies are the urban legends of modern urban legends, right?
Oh,
So
here's a good one. I mentioned before my uncle and the werewolf. So I did something similar to my kids. So my oldest and his friend, I was telling them this, and this is when we have a small deck right now, but we had a higher deck and maybe about like 4 feet off the ground. And I would tell them every time we'd visit that I kept a wolf pack beneath the deck. And they were like 5 and 6. So like,
like a pack of wolves?
A pack of wolves. So they were like, they were old enough to like, to probably think that I was bullshitting them, but just young enough to like have that little bit of sense belief. So the friends started getting bold. He said, well, I want to see him. I want to see him. And I was telling him, I'm like, they're asleep during the day. He's like, well, I want to see him. I'm like, all right, I'll try waking him up. And like, I called out the window while they were there in the kitchen. Then nothing happened, of course, obviously. And so they went to play. A few minutes later, I started screaming. They come back. I had like taken a red food dye and just dumped it all over my hand. Yeah. I was like, I tried to wake them up and they attacked me. And oh my God, the eyes just went wide. It was wonderful.
You see, Bevan, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Don't tell them there's no such thing as ghosts. You put the fear of God into them.
Yeah. You got to come out of that bathroom covered in blood.
I did that to a girlfriend when, different kind of horror. No, wait. All right, wait, stop. Be a little mature, huh? No, there's this. When I lived up in
Bloody Mary.
I got a wolf in my pants.
When I lived up in Richmond, Virginia, there's this zoo where you could just feed all the animals, and I took some kids I was babysitting there, and an ostrich just grabbed my hand with its beak, and because I was trying to feed it, and I was like, "Whoa, that should hurt a lot," but it didn't. And so I took my girlfriend there one time, and I knew this was going to happen. I let the ostrich grab my hand, and I screamed, and it freaked her the hell out.
Nice. I have to ask, Bob, how do you end up? Sorry, who is it who ends up letting you babysit their kids? I'm just curious. Like,
I wasn't always this way.
Okay, all right.
I have a zoo horror story. I don't know if it's happened yet, but it's going to be one. There was a zoo in Alabama near where I worked that would let you play with tiger cubs.
Wow.
For like $50. Yeah. You could take your picture with them. Still fucking tigers. Still teeth, still claws.
Yeah.
Are they specially trained tigers? No,
they're cubs. You can't train cubs, but so much.
Yeah, just baby tigers.
They just eat less than full-grown tigers.
They're nature's killing machines.
Good luck.
Try not to look like a threat or edible or, get killed or anything.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, no refunds.
To be fair, I had a boss with a picture of him just like holding a tiger, and it was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Just
if it goes well,
tiger. That looks pretty neat.
That's a nice picture, yeah. If it doesn't go well, it's I guess it's a nice scar you could talk about.
It ends up on the internet. So.
Yes, it does.
It's a fun how did you lose your eyes story. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of losing a body part, I found a classic, perhaps even Lynchian story that I'm pretty sure we'll all have heard. The ribbon. Lady, ribbon around her neck.
Let's strike the cord.
Should I do this one just in case?
Yeah.
All right. This site's really good. It condenses shit nicely. A man marries his beloved, a beautiful young woman who always wears a black velvet ribbon around her neck. On their wedding night, he asks why she never takes the ribbon off. "If I do, you'll be sorry," she says, and goes to sleep. Night after night he keeps asking, but she always gives him the same reply. He begins to go mad with curiosity. Finally, one night while she's sleeping, he steals the scissors from her sewing box and cuts through the ribbon himself. The black ribbon falls away, and her head rolls right off her neck and falls to the floor with a sickening thud.
Yeah, you don't want to be coy with that.
Yeah, it's she really should have said. See, if I was her, I would have said, "Don't take the ribbon because my head will fall off."
Yeah.
And then there's less chance of
I don't-
that happening.
I don't want to blame the victim, but
I want to say I'm proud of you. I definitely assumed someone was going to jump to a getting head joke. So well done, guys.
I think a better thing would be like it's like, no, I can't take this ribbon off. I want to see what's in it. If you ever try taking this ribbon off, I will cut your fucking nuts off. There, that would have solved it right there.
Huh.
It's like you're married. Like what level of trust do you need to establish to say, "Hey, this is my self-destruct ribbon"? Like I if not him, then who? If not the person you are choosing to marry, not your partner.
Really, this is kind of like third date talk, I would have thought. Like, so what's with the ribbon? I mean, I like the goth look, but you never take it off. Well, if I do, my head will fall off. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you don't want to tell that to somebody because then somebody will be like, "Oh, so that's my scissors are cheaper than a divorce lawyer ribbon."
Yeah, because a judge will definitely believe her head magically fell off. Won't look like Rick the Axe murderer's first victim.
Again, this is something I put up front, like to everybody. It's just like, just say I'm marrying this guy, and if he takes this ribbon off, my head's gonna fall off, and that's me dead. So I want you to, just be aware that I can very easily be murdered.
Or it should have
protect herself.
It should have been written into the lore that there was a reason she couldn't tell him that.
Yeah, it sounds to me like she was just being kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it as almost a relationship litmus test. Folks out there, if the person you're marrying isn't someone that you can tell about a magical murder ribbon around your neck, then you know what? That's probably not a relationship that's ready to bear the weight of marriage.
There's gotta be trust.
You know what's a better version of that story? The one from I think Tales from the Dark Side, the movie with with Ray Don Chong who
the gargoyle one.
And the gargoyle one. Because that one, at least, it's kind of one of those, yes, because if you say it, I will turn back into a fucking monster and murder the fuck out of you.
She explicitly tells him not to do that. Yeah. I thought I was the only one who remembered that weird movie.
Oh no, I remember that one too. That was a shit show.
She didn't ever tell him, like, again, it was kind of a weird trust exercise, wasn't it? Don't ever tell anyone about that gargoyle. Because if she said, because I am that gargoyle and I'll murder you, you probably wouldn't have told anyone.
Yeah. Well, something in this day and age of Twitter, that secret would last about 3 seconds.
Yeah, you just Google that shit.
I feel like a dude probably could have just put the head back on, tied the ribbon back, and good, right? Like,
yeah, maybe without even waking her up.
Won't do that
I guess
again.
that's fair. Like, if it was good enough before, why not now?
I thought it was just going to be take off the ribbon. There's like a giant Adam's apple under there or something like that. Like, oh no,
just like an eyeball or something.
This is not what I expected.
Take off the ribbon. It's a portal to hell.
This is where I keep my throat, dick.
But this is kind of like this is olden times, I assume, because he had to steal some scissors from her sewing box. So
that's a real weird detail. Like, were dudes not allowed to have scissors? Was that a feminine thing?
Right. I think it was. It's like scissors were her domain, and so was tying ribbons. So once he eventually got this ribbon off with his stupid man hands, he was like, "How do I undo this catastrophe?
There's no undoing it."
What feminine art is this?
Also, why were two blades fashioned together not considered manly?
Yeah.
Because it's a delicate tool. A man uses a chainsaw.
A chainsaw made of knives.
Which might explain why her head fell off when he was trying to undo the ribbon.
That would have been a funnier story. So he grabbed his saw and he sawed the damn thing. Oh, and her head just fell off.
Ooh, spooky. Oh.
Tried to remove the ribbon with a chainsaw.
So him being a man of the time, searched for the only cutting implement he had about his person, his power saw.
Yeah.
And by some eldritch magic, a head fell away from her body.
Huh.
Damn it, that's the third wife that's happened to.
What curse is this?
Oh, these damn murder ribbons of these rich women I marry. What are the odds?
Similar kind of folklore thing, but more of a modern folklore thing. Yeah, you guys remember the film The Ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And the whole thing with like you
yeah.
gotta watch it like every day or whatever it was. Very recently, my wife admitted to me that the first time that she saw it, like with her friends or whatever, she literally watched it like every day. Like it scared her so much. She's like, I gotta just watch this movie again. She literally watched it like every day for a week or whatever it was. I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? She's like, no, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, that's impressive. That's like a very like modern example of something like that, I guess. I didn't think that movie was scary enough to really scare the piss out of someone like that, but I guess it worked for her at least. Pretty interesting.
I remember that horse diving into the water scene.
Yeah.
Like that stuck with me.
Yeah, for sure.
That's creepy as shit.
It's kind of interesting seeing like these like modern things that are popping up. I guess kind of like that. Like you've got the whole like Slender Man thing that has come up. Like that's a very
I think that's the one that kind of I guess bridges the gap between urban legend and movies. In that it was kind of a highly, I guess, media-orientated fabrication of an urban legend.
Well, that was created as a creepypasta, right? Like specifically made like as like make a scary story contest kind of thing.
So semi-relevant aside, my son has one of those Slenderman morph suits from like 2 years ago. And we found it like this Halloween, and I was like, I should wear that and go as not so Slender Man.
Yeah, but I guess these ones created for the internet, these urban legends, so you can probably trace them. Which I guess organic urban legends have evolved.
But that's like it's like there's things like that. I don't know, are kind of dopey when there's real horror. I mean, there's real horror like Goatsy and like and Tub Girl on the internet. You don't need to make up horror. Like monsters on the internet there.
Gather around the campfire, children, and I'll tell you the legend of the two girls and the single pie.
That's not chocolate pudding, or is it? We don't know. We just don't know. Let me tell you about.
Don't Google it.
All of the companies that are mining and collecting your data out there, folks. Don't take that survey.
It's like, say any product out loud, then go to Facebook and see if they serve you up an ad about it.
Ooh, yeah, it's like the Bloody Mary of the modern generation. Something actually happens.
It all started when everyone wanted to know what Hogwarts house they belonged to.
Oh God, I have
suddenly.
I have a good tech horror story-ish. When Superpowers was a serial, I would do comments and everything and deal with that pretty much daily. And there were ads on the site, but they were Google ads, so it was just whatever you were looking at, it would serve you up your own shit, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So every now and then I would get people who would ask, hey, why is there so many like porn nudity ads? Like, why am I getting all these ads for like Russian wives? And it's like, that's on you, but and like some of these people like had their names, their actual email addresses. They're like, I'll delete this for you if you want.
You're going to feel dirty while they do it, but
the horror of technological incompetence.
Wait, you mean you can delete your browser history? Oh, fuck. Oh, well.
VP, what now?
Wait, there's a browser history? Oh, no.
Wait, yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Why am I constantly being shown ads for men to piss on me?
Scary.
Everywhere.
Spooky.
I wonder what the kids are kind of like telling each other now, urban legends. And is there a thing? And then And then Billy forgot to delete his browser history, and his
Right.
mom went on his computer.
And then he got home and he turned on Facebook, but the internet was down.
And then he finished masturbating and realized he was still Skyping. Oh my God. These are all scarier than Hook Hand,
He
guys.
fired up Pornhub,
Nice.
but he came during the position change.
He forgot
God,
to hang
fun.
up on Grandma via FaceTime.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So probably another scary story time. Once we're into masturbation, that feels like
Yeah.
the good back to topic moment.
Okay.
Found another classic, The Vanishing Hitchhiker.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah. So I've heard the prom variant of this one. This one has it as a couple, but it is a couple are driving late at night. They notice a girl hitchhiking. They pick her up, and she thanks them and gives them an address. They drive her home, trying to make polite conversation, but after a few minutes, the girl falls silent. The driver asks if they've reached the right intersection. When they turn to the back seat, the girl is gone. She has vanished without a trace. When they reach the address she gave them, an elderly couple greets them at the door. They don't know of any girl, but their own daughter was killed in a car accident many years ago, just a few miles up the road.
So this ghost purpose is to just waste people's time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the
Yep.
variant I've heard is it's a single guy. He picks up the girl. She's cold, so he gives her his jacket, drops her off home, and then the next day he goes back to get the jacket. The parents tell him she's dead, and they bring her out to like the grave, and his jacket is hanging off the tombstone.
Oh, I've heard that one. That one's better. That one's better.
That implies that she worked a lot harder to waste his time.
Yeah, it's like this ghost exists to waste time and steal your new leather jacket.
I like the Pee-wee's Big Adventure version.
Well, I was thinking the
because,
same thing. Yeah.
at least he got a ride out of it. You know what I mean? Like that was a helpful,
Large Marge.
ghost.
Okay, did
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
that scare anybody else? Because that scared the shit out of me because I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is a large Marge? What is going on here?
Bob, you tell it. You're
You have to
better.
explain it, Bevan, for the benefit of the listeners.
10 years ago, on a night just like tonight. Worst accident I ever seen. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's pretty good, man.
All right.
Pretty good.
Well, you set the scene there for me.
Pretty good.
Have you never seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I've seen it in bits and pieces.
Well, that's the wrong way to see it.
Not plot recalling level.
Yeah. Just go
Is that
to
a future Authors and Dragons at the movies?
Not memorizing lines.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
Basically, Large Marge just picks him up, right, and then tells him that
he's
story.
hitchhiking
Does-
and
Yeah, does the bug out blah, on him, and he gets out of the truck, goes to the truck stop.
oh no! Well, she also
What
she
happens?
says tell him Large Marge sent you.
Right.
And then he walks into the diner and says, Large Marge sent me. And everybody goes silent. And says, Large Marge? Well, that can't be the case because, well, 10 years ago. Worst accident I ever see.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The large Marge was a helpful, not
Yeah.
time-wasting ghost.
Nope.
But
No.
still terrifying.
Time saving ghost, actually.
She's still working. She's still paying taxes.
Still
She's
working.
still chipping away at that American dream.
Yep. Not letting a little death slow her down. It's good.
That's good. She's got moxie. I like that.
Ghost Marge is gonna kick death in the penis and get her route back. Gonna
Making
beat
good
him like a
time.
clown mannequin.
Oh, fuck.
I got 50 post-mortem speeding tickets.
Death walks outside of his house and Large Marge's big rig just fires up.
Jeez.
That's right, we're going all the way back to the Hook joke.
Yeah.
What about the golden arm one?
Golden arm.
Yeah.
Golden-
Definitely not heard the Golden
I don't know
Arm.
that
Why
one.
is that?
Jamie Lannister?
Yeah. Well, no. That's
My golden arm.
the very fact that this story exists and nobody stops and is like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So apparently this poor farmer and his wife lived together. except the wife was missing an arm that was replaced with a golden arm, ignoring the fact that they're poor and shit. Yeah, I know. But
It was a gift.
But yeah, the whole thing was she would tell him, when I die, just bury me with my arm so I have both arms.
Right.
So yeah, so she dies. He dies. Eventually, he realizes, well, fuck this noise. It's a golden arm. I should dig it up. And it just basically turns into a ghost story after that, where she comes back like seeking revenge. Give me back my arm.
Yeah, that was kind of selfish. While they were alive, I mean, if you got a golden arm, you're not doing anything with that fucking arm. Sell that shit and live it up.
Even if it's a magic arm that like does actually like give you full mobility, once you're dead, you guys are struggling. Your spouse needs that. What the fuck do you think you're gonna do? Use it in Ghostland? If
you got a magic golden arm, you can profit from that.
I mean, if there are ghosts, Drew, then she was 100% correct. She did need that arm for Ghostland.
Man, it's like my wife had a false arm, so I dug it up just so she could give me hand jobs from beyond the grave.
Ooh.
It's not like he's selling it to buy like Cadillacs and cocaine. Like they're poor, they're struggling. No, bury me with my solid gold arm.
Yeah.
Put it in the fucking ground.
I feel like you guys are just workshopping future Shingles titles here, possibly. Like all this, maybe throwing around ideas here.
I'm actually quite surprised by how many of these urban legend tales are kind of like the basis for horror movies or anthology kind of horror series in particular. They've been recycled so many times. We could definitely do some dig joke versions of these.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just going to write that down. The man with the dick hand. The woman with the dick ribbon around her neck.
Right.
The golden hand job.
Golden hand jobbers.
Yes. Excellent. It writes itself.
Yeah. There you go.
That's the next free Shingles story.
So, Drew, what's the next one? What's the next one, Drew?
The next future Shingles story.
Yeah.
So this one, I do actually remember. It's pretty creepy. So the dog lick one. If I say that.
The what?
Outside of the dog lick.
I've already written the Shingles.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that one's...
I'll give you the story real quick.
Peanut butter.
A woman is just a little afraid of the dark, so every night her dog sleeps under her bed. When she's afraid, she puts her hands down and her dog looks it to reassure her.
God.
One night, she wakes up to a strange dripping sound. The woman puts her hand down and feels the dog lick it, so she feels better and goes back to sleep. The next morning, she wakes to find the body of her dog hanging in the middle of the room, dripping blood. On the wall, someone has written, "Humans can lick too."
Yeah, so...
That's far more hilarious than scary.
Yeah, really. Yeah. That's a punchline.
The Tex Avery murderer has struck again.
Every night I hang my dick off the side of the bed. So
Every night I kill a dog, fuck a dog. That order.
Easy Shingles story.
Easy.
Yeah, that's a feel like I'd noticed the difference between a human tongue and my dog's tongue. Seems like there's a difference there.
No, I'll
maybe,
agree.
but if you're like trying to sleep and creepy shit's waking you up and you just put your hand down and you're counting on something to lick you to get you back to sleep.
Yeah, you don't really care what's licking.
I'm just saying I'm just saying you're groggy.
I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah. That's pretty fucked up when you think about it. Just like waking up half asleep, jamming your hand down there. I hope something slaps it with wetness.
Come on, do the thing. This is why I keep you around.
I've said if that's where you are in life, then I can believe that.
The dog hung himself.
Yeah.
I can't take it anymore.
Fuck my life.
Cut to the robber 3 days later, wakes up in bed, he feels something licking his asshole. What? How?
Jesus.
Who's laughing now? Written on the wall. God.
Pretty good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I kind of, when we came up with this premise, I was kind of like, I can't really think of any urban legends, but these are all the classics. They're all ringing bells now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God Drew's just looking shit up.
Yeah, thank God one of us got their shit together.
Oh, man. I found one of these I have straight up never heard of. The keyhole. Does that ring a bell for anybody?
Did they put their dick in it?
They do not, but it is about a lady.
Did she put her dick in it?
Okay, I'm just gonna do this one. Man is staying in a hotel for the weekend. On his way to his room, he notices a closed door with no numbers on it. When he asks about it, he is told that no one is allowed in that room. Curious, he stops to peer in the keyhole on the next night and sees a normal hotel room with a very pale woman lying on the bed. He goes along his way. But the very next night, he's just too curious and looks through the keyhole again. This time, all he can see is red. Just red. He goes to ask the woman at the front desk about the room again, and she finally tells him the truth. A woman was murdered in that room years ago. An albino woman with white skin and red eyes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think it's more like he went to like the clerk and said what was going on, and the clerk called the cops because he's a fucking pervert.
Yeah. Okay, people who run hotels with clearly haunted rooms, there's a thing called hiding in plain sight. Don't have rooms without numbers, and people won't say, "Hey, what's the deal with this specific room?"
Keep out haunted room.
Yeah, if it's just like
Don't
1296. No one gives a shit.
It's a good point.
Make it a smoking room and double. No one will want it.
No, we did have a weird thing. I think every college has like quote unquote the like the room where the student hung themselves or so. That's the haunted room.
Oh.
But we had an interesting one of mine where it was over winter break, and there was one of those rooms like that. Nobody was in the room, but I apparently at one point I was walking there. I was walking through the hall. There's a bunch of people in front of it, and I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "There's nobody in this room. Listen." And the furniture you could hear furniture in the room moving. I mean, they might have just been fucking with me and been RAs with the key or so. But
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one for sure.
I was trying to think of urban legends to bring on the show from my area, but they all turned out to be depressingly true. So I was like talking to my wife, saying it's like, stuff we used to hear about when we were kids. Like when they said they found a head in the boat, and like, sure, no, that wasn't true. So they found that head on Rowlett Road. I was like, oh, okay, that's it's not fun. It's not fun anymore.
That's just fudging a detail.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the guy who drank himself to death. Oh wait, that was your Uncle Bill. Sorry.
Yeah, so which one? Which of all of my male relatives do you mean?
Right. Do you guys have any like kind of experiences with the paranormal? Have you guys talked about this before? Like actual experiences that you think were something otherworldly or something like that?
No, that's bullshit.
I'm too thirsty for it. I want something paranormal to happen, and I'm never gonna fucking get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Drew's boat.
Okay.
I had my ghost sighting last year at Wyvacon.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, I'm a rational adult.
Well, that's good.
No, you're not.
I mentioned that furniture moving thing. I was staying over at my wife's apartment in Brooklyn one time, and all night long, I couldn't get to sleep because it was fucking like noise. And we woke up the next morning. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I slept like crap because your neighbors upstairs were moving their moving their furniture all night. She's like, I live on the top floor, dumbass.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
We have addressed these in a mimic chest. If any of you Patreon listeners want to drill through that, the closest I have to a ghost story, because I live in the valley where there's no light pollution, so I've seen like weird lights in the sky and stuff, but they are just kind of like weird natural phenomenon. Nothing. I assume they weren't ghosts because, like Bevan, I am a rational adult sometimes. But there's lots of old buildings where we are. And my parents were running pubs most of their life, and a lot of the pubs are some of the oldest buildings out there because even our ancestors like to drink themselves to death. And my granny used to live there at the time because everybody used to live in the pub they were running. She was always telling me ghost stories about this place, and that was what my granny was. She was a storyteller, so we kind of just took it on the chin. But my mum is such a sensible, rational person, and we were kind of just at dinner one day, and we was talking about the stories her granny used to tell, and one of them, my mum was like, "Oh no, that one was true." I was like, "That's a bit creepy." When you're like your rational adult figure suddenly says, "Actually, you know what? There might be ghosts." So so that was that's the closest I have to a ghost story. Is sort of getting one semi-confirmed from the rational adult in my life. She might have just been fucking with us, but again, that's not really something she does.
Well, I got nothing. I'm in that same boat. I haven't seen anything or always looked for it. Always thought something might pop up here or there, something like that, but nah, nothing.
Hey, if we get drunk enough, we'll have one.
There you go. Exactly.
If you can get drunk enough to imagine aliens, you can damn sure get drunk enough for ghosts.
Yeah. My theory of anything that is slightly unusual is the dull razor, where the most boring explanation is probably true.
Yeah.
Moonshine and meth.
Yeah.
And I look at it this way. I got 3 kids, 2 dogs, and 5 cats here. Even if this place was haunted, I would never fucking know.
Right. Right.
Ghosts are like, I gotta move out, man. I gotta find somewhere with some fucking space.
Too crowded.
Oh, that's good. That was fun going through the old classic campfire stories there.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything they would like to plug?
John?
Oh, hey, just Critical Failures 7 Septipussy, now available on Audible and Amazon.
Yeah, you know what? And for those uninitiated but charmed by the soothing sounds of John Sleep's voice, there's also you can grab the first 4 Critical Failures books in a bundle for just 1 credit on Audible.
That's right.
Four fucking books. Whoa.
That's right.
Nice. John, I have to ask you while we have you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You seem like a professional dude who knows what he's doing. What is it like to read the words of Robert Bevan?
Oh man, there are moments for sure when I'm just. What's really funny is when I'm going through and doing edits with Travis, who you guys have met. We met at Con Carolina's year before last. Yep, he is the owner and he runs Saturn V Sound Studio, who technically records the audiobooks. So he's right here with me as he's doing. He's kind of helping me with direction and keeping things straight and all that stuff. And we'll be doing edits and whatnot, or we'll be doing the principal recording, and it'll be like, let's take it at dripping vagina, please. Here we go. It'll be like, all right, go ahead and punch in at that point. And it's just like, yep, this is Monday for me. This is what I'm doing.
Oh, man, you're living the dream.
It's something else. Sometimes it's a little hard to believe.
I got another question related to that I didn't think to ask until just now. All right, so you said you didn't want any part of space puppies. And I get that. That's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
However, have there been any Critical Failures moments where you thought, like, oh man, that's like I feel kind of the same way I did about space puppies, but I'm too far in now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's like, holy shit, we're doing this. Okay, here we go. Shake it. Here, let's go. Just gotta go.
Well, now that we're there, any second thoughts on space puppies?
No.
All right. Okay.
Not really. I'll let you
Probably
know.
the right call.
I'll let you know. For sure.
Well, in the vein of Critical Failures and the wonderful work that Bevan and John do, If you are listening to this on the 30th, when it comes out, then there is 1 day left in the Shingles sale.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. All the Shingles
Ooh.
volumes should be at a deep, deep discount, so you can pick them up and read our comedy horror novellas to your heart's content. And remember to keep an eye out for Shingles Volume 3 coming from Tantor Media at a date to be disclosed once we know it.
Yeah, the only place to get shingles cheaper is, well, I guess probably a hospital, but
Or a
Or a
hooker.
leprosy convention.
Yeah.
Your grandma.
Oh. All right, big thanks to John for coming out and joining us for this episode of SideQuest. We'll be back next week with a regular episode of Authors and Dragons. Until next time, bye.
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 Bye.